Welcome to PreciousMetalsInvesting.com. My name is Ted Sudol, and I have the pleasure of having as my guest today Paul Mladjenovic. Paul is the author of Precious Metals Investing for Dummies. He also has his own website, theravencapitalist.com. Welcome, Paul.
Good to be on your show, Ted.
Okay.
And today I know we're going to talk about currencies. You know how politicians do this, but I just want to relay an interesting thing that I made, I saw a report that said, I saw this years ago, that said that, when there's a nuclear fallout, that among the things that survive a nuclear fallout are cockroaches. Believe right? You believe it? And then I heard the report last week that Washington, D.C. could survive a nuclear attack. So the amazing thing is that in a nuclear catastrophe, only two things would survive: cockroaches and politicians. What does that tell you?
They're genetically related.
Exactly. But now the thing is, those things can survive, but the point is, can we say the same thing about the world's currencies?
Right.
Did you see how I put it together very well, actually?
You did, Paul. You did, Paul.
Yeah.
And, as most of our viewers here at the website know, that today the world trade is based on the dollar as the reserve currency. And there's a lot of rumblings out there from other governments, from other areas saying, why should that be?
Well, the interesting thing is that most of the countries of the world are basically mismanaging their currency. Let's be blunt about it. But what's interesting? When it comes down to criticizing, everybody's criticizing somebody else's currency. Right. A lot of countries out there are rumbling and getting dissatisfied with the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. And you have rumblings where you might have it where there might be competing currencies or stores of value against the U.S. dollar. And the thing is, since all of these currencies, I think, are being overproduced, that's part of their mismanagement. See, monetary policy, when you can run a currency, and you can be able to create more of that currency with a few mouse clicks, right? We used to print it, now we can do it electronically. Then the thing is, whenever you're having catastrophe, even a problem, what is the thing they always refer to? Just create more of a currency and use that currency to bail out the issue, right? This is what's happening in Europe. When Greece is going into its difficulties, what's the first impulse? Let the euro bail them out. You see? And in America, what happened with the US dollar? Is a problem in this banking sector or with that Wall Street firm? No problem. Print up the money and bail them out. But now you have the issue with what? The federal government, its total debt. And I'm talking about just its nominal debt. Never mind its unfunded liabilities like Social Security and everything else. But just its nominal debt now exceeds the quote-unquote value in terms of the gross domestic product. So we're already heading into in a catastrophe. How do you pull back from that without some pain and some crunch? Other countries out there are saying, well, look at the U.S. dollar is being printed up, and maybe we shouldn't have that as a reserve currency. Well, what are you going to have in its place? Right? What do we say? China, would love to see its currency probably at the top of the heap because they feel that they're growing and doing very well. Then you'll have some, bureaucrats in Brussels talking about how the euro is a great currency, and I'm sure other people will start bringing up currencies as well, from other parts of the world. I haven't heard much about the yen, but then again, they've been printed up as well. So all of these currencies, they all seem to be racing, and we'll see which one goes off the cliff sooner rather than later.
Right. Well, it's not my contention that any of these paper currencies, fiat currencies, are any better than the U.S. dollar, but I think that what it does show is that a lot of the world is waking up to the problems with the U.S. dollar. China is looking and saying in a couple of years we're going to be the largest economy. Why should we be basing everything in dollars? And what I've read is that one of the things that China is considering, not that they want to base their standard on their paper currency, but they actually want to base it on the gold standard. And for us, for the U.S. government, that means, I think, a sea change in our finances and the world finances. And I think maybe that has a little bit to contribute to why we hear so many government regulators right now bashing the gold standard.
And the interesting thing is, the latest report showed that in terms of buying physical gold, some of there's been an increasing demand where lots of the central banks of the world are actually buying up some of the gold. So they figure, why not exchange, depreciating units of their currency for things that'll either retain its value or potentially increase.
Right.
Yeah?
Exactly.
So my thinking is this. I mentioned to you earlier how after a nuclear fallout, what survives is cockroaches and politicians. But what happens after a currency fallout? When there's a currency collapse? What will survive thereafter? Probably cockroaches, probably some politicians, but you know what? Precious metals will probably they'll still be standing afterwards as well. So
Exactly,
notice
Paul.
how adroitly I tied it all together.
Exactly, Paul. Well, thank you for being with us today here at PreciousMetalsInvesting.com. My name is Ted Sudol. Paul is the author of Precious Metals Investing for Dummies. He also has his own website, TheRavenCapitalist.com. So make sure you visit that website also. Thank you.
Take care.